This Sunday at First United Methodist Church, we're going to be continuing our series on imaginative prayer. And we began by laying this foundation of being on the path, this journey that we call the way, that we're always moving upwards, seeking to be like Jesus. And so as we continue on this path, this week we're going to look at what it means to experience Jesus and deepening our prayer life towards striving to get all that He has for us. And so throughout history, if you go all the way back to the ancient Greeks, there's been kind of this, Plato had this dualistic idea that we are, body and soul, but even more than that, that we're mind and heart, right? That we have a rational side of ourselves, but we have a emotional side of ourselves, this thinking versus feeling. And we go all the way, to the modern day where we look at, different personality types that we have. But in actuality, I think they're both two sides of the same coin. I had a youth group leader, a couple that in the church that I grew up in, and they were kind of the embodiment of these two different types of people, yet they worked so well together. And had different experiences of Jesus, yet it was, I would say, on an equal playing field. The husband in this relationship, he was the very methodical, very thinking type, very rational oriented, and the wife who led the group, she was very emotional, very much about your feelings and incorporating music and worship and in that sense to invoke your senses in the way that you feel about things. And oftentimes in the church, we kind of tend to elevate the feeling, right? The senses, what the Spirit, speaks to you and touches your heart, right? Instead of your mind. But then you have, people like me. I'm kind of a theology nerd. I like to use my brain and rational thinking. And sometimes they think, well, you haven't experienced Jesus if you're just using your mind. Well, we have different ways that we experience things. And so when we tap into the imagination, we kind of try to bridge the gap between, what's in our head and what's in our hearts. Right? We can't just try to gain more information and have that lead to transformation. We can't just try to do more of, let go and let God and just, give all of our emotions, our feelings to Jesus. Those are good things, right? Both of those things. But there's a balance that has to happen. And I think when we find that balance, we find there's a way to tap into our imagination, to use the creativity that God has given us. And so we're going to begin to see that this Sunday as we seek to experience Jesus through imaginative prayer.